The Alvari observation vessel Silent Witness maintained its position in high Earth orbit, cloaked against primitive human detection systems. Chief xenobiologist Talvek adjusted his monitoring equipment, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he observed the latest human conflict unfolding across the Middle Eastern region. Another day, another war, he noted to his colleague. 3 active conflicts and 17 diplomatic standoffs between their nation-states. Yet somehow they continue advancing technologically at an unprecedented rate. The Alvari had been observing Earth for nearly 30 standard cycles. What had begun as routine pre-contact surveillance had evolved into the longest continuous observation mission in Galactic Council history. No consensus could be reached on how to approach this paradoxical species. The energy output from their North American continent has increased 8% since last rotation. Science officer Mira Lin reported, her silver skin reflecting the glow of holographic displays. They've achieved another breakthrough in particle physics. At this rate, they'll develop rudimentary FTL theory within a decade. Talvek's feeding tentacles curled in agitation. Impossible. They're still bombing each other with chemical explosives. No species develops interstellar theory while engaged in planetary warfare. No species except humans. Mira Lin corrected. The Council must be informed. The containment protocols may require adjustment. Aboard the Silent Witness, no one noticed the small anomaly in their cloaking field, a microscopic fluctuation caused by an unexpected solar flare. Nor did they detect the enhanced radio telescope at Dr. Eliza Chen's remote Antarctic research station that for precisely 3.4 seconds captured the signature of something artificial in orbit. Dr. Chen stared at her readings in disbelief, running the numbers again. After 15 years of searching the stars for evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, she'd found it hovering right above Earth. The government would demand she surrender her findings, classify everything, create another black project. Unless, recalibrate and focus all arrays on these coordinates, she instructed her small team. And someone get me the number for that private aerospace contractor, the one run by the eccentric billionaire. We're going to need resources the government won't provide. In the council chambers light years away, the Surveillance Committee received the latest report from Earth. Their military technology advances faster than their ethical frameworks, the Trelawney representative observed, translucent wings fluttering nervously. They create weapons that could destroy their entire civilization, then entrust them to leaders chosen through popularity contests. Nevertheless, they show remarkable potential, countered the ancient Vox delegate, its crystalline body pulsing with internal light. No other species has demonstrated such rapid adaptation or creative problem-solving. There is something unique in their cognitive structure. The Alvari representative slammed a tentacle against the table. They are dangerous. Look at their entertainment. They fantasize about defeating superior alien forces, about being the dominant species in the galaxy. They glorify conflict. Standard protocol remains in effect. The Council Prime declared after hours of debate. Earth is classified as a volatile developing world. No contact until they achieve independent FTL capability or resolve their internal conflicts. The observation team will continue monitoring. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen carefully extracted components from what appeared to be a damaged satellite, one with technology unlike anything humans had created. As she worked, she smiled. The first proof humanity wasn't alone in the universe might not come through an alien transmission or an official government disclosure, but through human ingenuity and one scientist's determination to understand what aliens were trying to hide. Humanity's greatest strength had always been curiosity, and perhaps its greatest danger too. 3 years after Dr. Chen's discovery, a nondescript facility nestled in the Nevada desert hummed with activity. Behind layers of security and disinformation, the First Contact Research Division worked tirelessly. What had begun with salvaged components from a damaged alien probe had evolved into humanity's most closely guarded secret. The power coupling is stabilizing, Dr. Chen announced, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Quantum field alignment at 94%, better than yesterday's test. Commander Jackson observed from behind reinforced glass, his military posture belying his excitement. So this is it. After all the failures, all the setbacks. Not quite ready for champagne, Chen replied, adjusting parameters on her holographic display. But the principles are sound. We've cracked their gravitational manipulation technology without a complete blueprint or instruction manual, something their reports probably said was impossible. The prototype vessel in the chamber, dubbed Prometheus *, didn't look impressive. A skeletal framework surrounding a spherical core, it resembled an unfinished art project, more than humanity's first faster-than-light capable ship. Its hybrid design merged reverse-engineered alien tech with human innovation in ways the original creators never intended. The Council believes we're centuries away from achieving this, said Director Harlow, joining Jackson at the observation window. Their quarantine protocols assume we're still focused on pointless wars and reality television. A reasonable assumption, Jackson admitted, considering what's currently trending online. Harlow's expression darkened. The president wants a demonstration within the month. The Chinese and Russians are making progress on their own programs. We're not ready for a test flight, Chen interjected, joining them. The navigation system is rudimentary at best. We don't understand how their stellar mapping works. Then make an educated guess, Harlow replied coldly. National security won't wait for perfection. 2 weeks later, Prometheus was loaded with a volunteer crew of 3. Commander Jackson, Dr. Chen, and Engineer Specialist Rodriguez. The mission parameters were clear, a controlled jump to the edge of the solar system and back, proving the concept without alerting any watching eyes. Neural interface online, Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across adaptive controls that responded to both touch and thought. Drive core stable at 87%, within acceptable parameters. Commencing pre-jump sequence, Jackson stated for the record. Mission control, we are go for transit. From the observation bunker, Harlow spoke into his secure line. Mr. President, Prometheus is initiating jump sequence. We're about to make history. The quantum field generated by Prometheus distorted space in ways human science had only theorized. As the field collapsed inward, folding space around the vessel, a miscalculation in the navigation system altered their trajectory. Instead of reaching Pluto's orbit, Prometheus tore through the fabric of space-time and emerged 16 light-years from Earth, directly beside a Galactic Council outpost. Alarms blared through the outpost's command center as impossible readings appeared on monitoring stations. Containment breach, the Alvari station commander shouted. Unregistered vessel has appeared in Sector 4. Species identification, demanded his second-in-command. The scanner paused, recalibrating. Impossible. It's reading as human. In Prometheus, emergency systems flashed warnings across displays. That's not Pluto, Chen whispered, staring at the massive alien structure dominating their view screen. No, Jackson agreed, his military training kicking in as he assessed potential threats. But it's definitely first contact. Rodriguez's voice wavered as he monitored the incoming transmissions. Commander, they're hailing us. In multiple Earth languages. The quarantine had been breached. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage generations before the Council anticipated, and in a manner that violated every protocol established for developing worlds. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hadn't been this crowded in 12 generations. Representatives from 87 species filled the tiered seats, their murmurs creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and subharmonic vibrations. At the center of the chamber, holographic displays showed the human vessel Prometheus now docked at Outpost Zenith 9, its crew under ceremonial guard. This breach of containment protocol is unprecedented, declared High Counselor Vexnar of the Alvari Collective, his feeding tentacles writhing with agitation. A pre-FTL civilization should not possess the technological capability to reverse engineer our systems. Yet they have done precisely that, countered Ambassador Liran of the peaceful Trelawney Accord. Her translucent wings shimmered as she gestured toward the data streams. And with remarkable efficiency, their adaptation of our gravitational manipulation principles is creative, unorthodox, but effective. The ancient Vox representative, Elder Crystallis, had remained silent throughout the initial debates. Now his crystalline form pulsed with internal light as he spoke, his thoughts translated by the chamber systems. In 50,000 cycles of council history, no species has ever achieved such rapid technological assimilation without guidance. We must consider the implications. The emergency session had been ongoing for 3 standard days. Surveillance records of Earth's entire history were examined, dissected, and debated. The council members watched in horror at humanity's endless wars, their casual brutality toward their own kind. Yet they also witnessed breathtaking artistic achievements, acts of profound selflessness, and scientific leaps that defied conventional developmental patterns. Their pattern recognition capabilities exceed predictive models, noted the Zenth scientific delegate, her robotic chassis adjusting to display relevant data. They learn through failure at an accelerated rate. Each setback seems to fuel innovation rather than caution, which is precisely why they must be contained. Vexnar insisted. A species that thrives on conflict, that advances through warfare, that celebrates victory over cooperation. Imagine such a mindset loose among the stars. Ambassador Liran's gentle voice somehow silenced the growing discord. Yet consider their capacity for change. No other known species has transformed its planetary governance as rapidly or as frequently as humans. They are adaptable in ways we struggle to comprehend. Elder Crystallis projected a series of images. Humans risking their lives for strangers, rebuilding after disasters, creating art that captured emotions no other species experienced quite the same way. What terrifies us may also be what makes them valuable. Their unpredictability is both threat and promise. The debate continued until finally, the Council Prime called for a vote. After hours of deliberation, a reluctant consensus emerged. Humanity would be acknowledged. The quarantine officially lifted. Earth would be invited to send formal diplomatic representatives. The crew of Prometheus would be returned with a council envoy. But secretly, containment protocols would be enhanced, not abandoned. Military vessels were dispatched to strategic positions near human space. Surveillance would be increased tenfold. And a new classification was created in the council archives: potentially catastrophic emergent intelligence. As the council adjourned, Elder Crystallis lingered, studying the images of the human crew. They named their vessels after beings who defied their gods to bring knowledge to their kind. He observed to his aide. A curious choice for first contact. Is it symbolic, Elder? The aide inquired. Perhaps prophetic, Crystallis replied. Their myths speak of terrible punishment for such defiance. I wonder if they considered the price of their ambition. On the journey back to Earth, Commander Jackson stood with Dr. Chen on the observation deck of the Council diplomatic vessel escorting them home. They're afraid of us, he noted, watching their alien escort's careful movements. We're still using fossil fuels, and they're terrified. Chen's eyes reflected the starlight as she smiled. They should be. The Galactic Council headquarters loomed over Ambassador Katerina Novak, its crystalline spires reaching impossibly high into the lavender sky of Nexus Prime. 6 months after the Prometheus incident, Earth had assembled its first interstellar diplomatic corps, a carefully selected team representing diverse backgrounds, disciplines, and nationalities. Remember, Novak instructed her team as they approached the ornate entrance, we're not just representing Earth. We're representing a species these beings have been observing and judging for decades without our knowledge. Dr. Chen, now serving as scientific attaché, adjusted her formal attire. They expect us to be awed, intimidated. Their architectural design is deliberately overwhelming. A psychological tactic. Then we won't give them the satisfaction, Novik replied with a slight smile. Humans have been playing political games since Mesopotamia. The reception chamber bustled with alien dignitaries. Some resembled earth creatures, the Alvari with their tentacled forms, the insectoid Zenth with their cybernetic enhancements. Others defied human categorization entirely, like the crystalline Vox or the energy-based Myrians who existed within containment fields. Earth's representatives, announced the Council Herald, voice echoing through the vast space, approached the circle of communion. As the human delegation moved forward, subtle reactions rippled through the assembly. Tentacles curled in disapproval. Translucent wings fluttered nervously. Crystalline bodies dimmed their internal light. High Counselor Vexnar's voice carried a forced cordiality. The Galactic Council welcomes Earth to the interstellar community. Your unexpected arrival has accelerated certain protocols, but we embrace the opportunity for mutual exchange. Ambassador Novik performed the formal greeting they'd been taught. Earth thanks the Council for its welcome and looks forward to peaceful cooperation among the stars. The diplomatic platitudes continued, but beneath the ceremony lay palpable tension. In private chambers later, the human delegation reviewed their first day. They formed alliances against us, Security Chief Rodriguez observed. The Alvari, Zenth, and Quintal delegations were coordinating their interactions. The trade representatives refused to discuss technology sharing beyond basic agricultural systems. The Trelawney seemed genuinely welcoming, offered cultural attaché Okafor. They're peaceful philosophers, Chen replied. The militant species see us as a threat. The mercantile ones see us as competition. The scientific community is divided between fascination and fear. Novik's expression remained unreadable. And what they don't realize is that Earth isn't waiting for their approval. Continue the public negotiations while our private initiatives proceed as planned. 3 weeks later, those private initiatives proved prescient. The research vessel Galileo was destroyed in neutral space, its crew of 15 scientists lost. Evidence suggested Quintal pirates, but the Council offered only formal condolences and promises of investigation. They're testing us, Novik told Earth's Security Council during an encrypted transmission. Seeing how we respond to provocation. And how will we respond, Ambassador? Asked the Secretary General. Novik's eyes hardened. Officially, with diplomatic restraint. Unofficially, she nodded to Dr. Chen, who activated a secure holographic display showing 12 unmarked human vessels already beyond Council monitoring, establishing hidden outposts in unclaimed systems. We're implementing contingency protocols, Novik continued. The Council believes they're shepherding our expansion into the galaxy. They don't realize we've already slipped the leash. On Nexus Prime, Elder Crystallis of the Vox studied reports of unusual energy signatures at the edges of monitored space. They move differently than expected, he noted to his aide. They adapt too quickly. Should we alert the Council? The aide inquired. Crystallis's crystalline form pulsed with consideration. Not yet. Let us observe how the most dangerous species responds when cornered. It may prove illuminating. The first attacks came without warning. On the agricultural world of New Trelawney, 12 million peaceful colonists vanished overnight. Orbital stations around the gas mining outposts of Helix 4 went dark simultaneously. 3 Council diplomatic vessels disappeared from monitored space. By the time the Council acknowledged they were under attack, 17 worlds had already fallen. The Galactic hive has breached the quantum barrier, announced High Counselor Vexnar, his usually imperious tone now trembling. For those unfamiliar with the threat, the hive existed, in a parallel region of space kept separate from Council territory by specialized containment fields. Ambassador Novik exchanged glances with her team. This was the first humans had heard of either the hive or these containment fields. The Galactic are a collective consciousness, explained Ambassador Liran of the Trelawney. Her wings, normally iridescent with color, had faded to a dull gray. They consume all organic matter on conquered worlds to feed their reproduction cycle. They do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They only expand. And you've been keeping them contained. Novak asked. For 8,000 cycles, Elder Crystallis confirmed. The barrier was designed to last another 3,000. Something has destabilized it prematurely. The council chamber erupted in shouts and accusations. Some blamed human technology for interfering with the barrier. Others suggested council corruption had led to maintenance failures. The Zenth representative advocated immediate evacuation of threatened sectors. While the council debated, humanity acted. Admiral Helena Reyes of the newly formed Earth Defense Fleet contacted Ambassador Novak from the military vessel Thunderchild*. Our research outpost on Europa 2 has gone silent, Reyes reported. Long-range sensors detected hive biosignatures before communications were lost. They've entered human space. Novak's face hardened. The council is paralyzed by procedure. What assets do we have in the region? 3 combat-ready vessels with experimental weapon systems, 2 science ships we can repurpose, and the Thunderchild. Insufficient against a threat of this magnitude. Agreed. But we don't need to win. Just buy time for evacuation. When the hive vessels appeared above Europa 2, they encountered something no other species had ever shown them. Deliberate, coordinated resistance. Human ships, significantly smaller than council vessels, employed erratic maneuvers the hive mind couldn't predict. They targeted propulsion systems instead of weapons arrays, crippling hive ships rather than destroying them. Aboard the Thunderchild, Admiral Reyes watched the battle unfold. Execute maneuver Thermopylae, she ordered. Evacuations are only at 68%. Her executive officer hesitated. Admiral, that's a suicide run. It's 300 colonists who get to live, she corrected him. Make it count. The council observation post recorded everything. How the human vessels deliberately sacrificed themselves to create an escape corridor for civilian transports. How their captains refused to abandon their posts even when survival was impossible. How they fought with a ferocity that matched the hive's relentlessness. In the council chamber, the recording silenced all debate. They had no obligation to defend Europa 2. Elder Crystallis noted. It was an unsanctioned colony, outside official human territory. Yet they sacrificed 7 vessels and 322 lives to evacuate non-combatants. High Counselor Vexnar's feeding tentacles writhed in distress. What manner of species throws itself willingly into extinction? One that refuses to accept it, Ambassador Liran whispered. The question now is whether their example will shame us into finding our own courage. The council war chamber had been unused for 4,000 cycles. Now it buzzed with grim activity as representatives from all major species coordinated their defenses against the hive onslaught. 6 weeks into the conflict, 17 more worlds had fallen. The Unified Defense Fleet had lost 43% of its vessels. The hive adapts too quickly to our conventional tactics, the Zenth military coordinator explained, her mechanical limbs interfacing directly with the strategic displays. Their biological vessels incorporate new defenses within days of encountering our weapons. Then we must adapt faster, Ambassador Novak stated. The human delegation now included Admiral Reyes and General Santos, both survivors of the Europa 2 engagement. We request access to all data on hive biology and technology. High Counselor Vexnar's tentacles twisted in agitation. Absolutely not. Council military protocols prohibit sharing advanced technological data with emergent species. With respect, Counselor, Reyes countered, those protocols were designed for peacetime. The hive doesn't recognize your borders or classifications. The argument might have continued indefinitely, if not for the arrival of a battered human vessel. The Defiant limped into the system, its hull scarred with acid burns and impact craters. In its cargo hold, the intact remains of a hive hunter-killer ship. Impossible, whispered the Kintal representative. No one has ever captured hive technology. Their vessels self-destruct upon defeat. They didn't expect us to ram them with a reinforced bow and physically separate their control node before it could trigger the self-destruct, explained Captain Miyazaki of the Defiant Asterisk. Her left arm ended in a prosthetic replacement, a testament to the cost of the mission. We lost 37 crew members. But we have their ship. Within 2 days, human scientists had taken the Hive vessel apart. Within a week, they had adapted elements of its biological propulsion system to their own vessels. By the end of the month, Earth shipyards were producing hybrid weapons that combined Hive organic technology with human ingenuity. The Council observers watched in astonishment. They've compressed a development cycle that should take years into weeks, noted Elder Crystallis. Their adaptability exceeds even our most alarming projections. It's not just their technology, added Ambassador Liran. Observed their battle strategies. The holographic display showed human vessels employing tactics from Earth's military history: Fabian retreats, Cannae encirclements, asymmetric guerrilla strikes. The Hive, with its collective consciousness, struggled to counter the unpredictable human approaches. Most shocking to the Council observers was the human willingness to sacrifice. When a Hive force threatened the Trelawney evacuation fleet, a single human cruiser deliberately collided with the lead Hive ship, detonating its reactor core to create a defensive perimeter for the escaping civilians. They keep dying for other species, the Alvari science director noted with incomprehension. Their casualty rates are 28% higher than any Council force, yet their volunteer numbers increase daily. It's not merely technological adaptability that makes them dangerous, Elder Crystallis observed. It's their evolutionary psychology. Forged through millennia of tribal conflict, they instinctively understand concepts the rest of us find alien: sacrifice for the group, hatred of an enemy, vengeance for fallen comrades. General Santos entered the war chamber, interrupting the Council's deliberations. Her expression was grim but determined. The Hive has breached the Arcturus defensive line. They're 12 light years from Earth. We're implementing Operation Scorched Earth. Another suicide mission? Asked Vexnar with surprising respect. Santos smiled thinly. No, Counselor. Something far more dangerous. A human with nothing left to lose. Operation Scorched Earth is not a military maneuver, General Santos explained to the stunned Council War Committee. It's a biological countermeasure. The holographic display projected a complex molecular structure rotating slowly above the central table. Council scientists studied it with expressions ranging from fascination to horror. You've weaponized the Hive's own biology against them, the Zenth representative observed. Her mechanical parts whirred as she processed the implications. This compound targets the pheromonal control mechanisms that link the Hive's collective consciousness. A neural disruptor, Santos confirmed. The Queens maintain control through specialized pheromones. Disrupt that connection. And the collective fragments, finished Elder Crystallis, his crystalline form pulsing with concern, leading to the extermination of an entire sentient species. The Council chamber fell silent. In 8 weeks of brutal conflict, the Hive had claimed over 30 billion lives across dozens of worlds. Yet the concept of deliberate species genocide remained abhorrent to most Council members. We did not arrive at this solution easily, Ambassador Novak said quietly. But we've analyzed every Hive world the Council has records for. They don't build, they consume. They don't negotiate. They assimilate or destroy. They've shown no indication of sapient moral considerations. There must be alternatives, pleaded Ambassador Liran. Containment fields, perhaps. Containment failed, Admiral Rice interrupted. And each day we debate, another world falls. Earth will be in range within 14 days. High Counselor Vexnar's tentacles curled inward, a sign of deep distress. In 50,000 cycles of Council history, we have never condoned the extermination of an entire species, not even the Hive. There have always been boundaries we refuse to cross. That is why you've nearly lost this war before it began, Santos replied coldly. Humanity has no such luxury. Our history is written in existential threats overcome through terrible choices. May I address the council? The unexpected voice came from a Vox archive keeper who had remained silent until now. The ancient crystalline being approached the central platform, projecting data streams from within its structure. 8,000 cycles ago, the first hive invasion required similar measures, the archivist revealed. The council of that era shows extinction of the queens rather than risk further expansion. The records were sealed to preserve our ideological purity, but the choice was made. The chamber erupted in shocked discussions. Elder Crystallis seemed unsurprised. History often demands uncomfortable truths, he noted. The question before us is whether we repeat our ancestors' actions or find another path. As the debate raged, human scientists continued refining their bioweapon. In a secured laboratory aboard the flagship Horizon *, Dr. Chen studied genetic samples from captured hive drones. What she discovered there would change everything. "General," she reported, her face grim on the secure communication channel, "the worker castes show signs of genetic modification. Their neural pathways have been artificially limited. The queens aren't just controlling them. They've engineered them for servitude." Santos absorbed this information. Can they be freed? Theoretically, but it would require a completely different approach than extermination. The risks? Incalculable. We'd be creating billions of newly independent beings with unknown psychological reactions to freedom. Some might remain hostile. Others might seek vengeance against their former queens. And the alternative is genocide, Santos concluded. Even justified genocide remains genocide. Chen nodded. The terrible solution or the dangerous gamble. Classic human dilemma. In the council chamber, Ambassador Novak received Chen's findings. As the council continued debating ethical abstractions, she recognized the moment for what it was. Humanity's first great moral test as a galactic species. Their decision would define them in cosmic history. "Elder Crystallis," she said, approaching the ancient being, "I believe we found a third option, though it may be the most dangerous of all." The strike team assembled aboard the stealth vessel Artemis represented humanity's final gambit. Commander Sakura surveyed her 12 volunteers, scientists, soldiers, and specialists drawn from Earth's best. The modified bioweapon was secured in specialized containment units, each member carrying a portion to ensure the mission could succeed even with casualties. "Central Hive approaches in 30 minutes, Lieutenant Quan reported from the navigation console. "Stealth systems at maximum capacity." Sakura nodded. "The Council fleet is in position." "Yes, Commander." Maintaining distance as agreed. Either we succeed or they implement the containment protocol. The containment protocol was the Council's euphemism for the complete destruction of the system, and everyone in it, should the mission fail. After 3 days of debate, the Council had authorized the human plan with one condition: absolute quarantine if unsuccessful. Elder Crystallis had been the deciding vote. Humans are dangerous precisely because they attempt what seems impossible, he told the Council. Their greatest threat to the galaxy may be hope. The Artemis slipped through the Hive's defenses, using reverse-engineered cloaking technology, combined with biological camouflage derived from the Hive's own signatures. The massive structure of the central Hive loomed before them, an organic nightmare of twisted corridors and pulsating chambers. "Life signs are off the charts," reported Dr. Chen, monitoring the sensors. "And these readings, they're not just psionic signatures. Multiple species detected in the lower chambers." "Prisoners?" asked Specialist Rodriguez. Chen's expression darkened. "No. According to these readings, they're being used somehow, metabolically integrated into the Hive structure." The strike team penetrated deeper, following the concentration of pheromonal signals toward the Queen's chamber. What they discovered there would haunt them forever. Thousands of beings from dozens of species were suspended in biological matrices, still alive, still conscious, but fused into the Hive's architecture. Their neural pathways had been hijacked, their bodies repurposed as living processors for the collective. "They're not just conquering worlds," Sakura whispered in horror. "They're harvesting consciousness itself." In the central chamber, the Hive Queen towered 15 meters high, a monstrous fusion of chitinous armor and pulsing organs, surrounded by specialized drones. Before her stood incubation chambers where captured beings were being transformed into new biological components. Sakura's hand tightened around the bioweapons trigger. The plan was clear: deploy the modified virus, eliminate the Queen's control, end the Hive as a unified threat. Yet those imprisoned minds would die with her. In that moment, everything humanity had learned throughout the war crystallized in Sakura's mind. Every sacrifice, every adaptive leap, every moral question led to this choice. "New plan," she announced to her stunned team. "Dr. Chen, recalibrate the bioweapons protein markers to target only the control pheromones. Lieutenant Quan, prepare emergency extraction protocols for the integrated victims." "Commander," Chen protested, "that's not what we agreed to. The modified bioweapon won't eliminate the Hive. It will only disrupt the Queen's control temporarily." "Exactly," Sakura replied. "We're not here to commit genocide. We're here to create a revolution." When the modified bioweapon dispersed through the ventilation systems, chaos erupted. Freed from the Queen's control, billions of worker drones across the Hive consciousness experienced independent thought for the first time. Some attacked their former controllers. Others freed the imprisoned entities. Many simply fled in confusion. As the Artemis escaped the collapsing Hive structure with as many rescued prisoners as they could extract, Sakura sent a final transmission to the waiting Council fleet. "The Queen is overthrown. The Hive civil war has begun." In the Council chamber days later, Elder Crystallis addressed the assembled representatives. "We now understand why humans are truly the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not for their capacity for violence, but for their refusal to accept binary choices when creativity might forge a third path." Ambassador Novak smiled slightly. "We call it compassion, Elder. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't the willingness to kill, it's the determination to find another way."